Akanksha, how do you manage to keep the food services sector completely ethical and sustainable?
Hi, thank you so much for that question. The reason I'm thanking you is because Chai Garam, representing Chai Garam, we are a 250 outlet chain today, and it's an Indian organically grown chain which has been out there since 2008. Today is 2023, 15 years, and we are live and kicking. So I think there can't be a better brand to answer that question on sustainability. So I'm going to actually answer the question on sustainability and ethics in three parts or three areas where I think it's applicable. One, of course, is before a franchisee is onboarded, because there's a lot of ethics and sustainability that's important at the early stage before a franchisee is onboarded. Then, of course, post onboarding, the service you give. And thirdly, the food or your overall brand ethos that comes along with your brand. There's a lot of sustainability and ethics that's required there. So on the first bit, which is pre-onboarding, I think especially on the ethics aspect, it is extremely important for a brand to be very transparent. It's important to understand that it's the brand's responsibility to highlight pitfalls, highlight possible risks before you onboard a potential franchisee. In the retail sector, it's a very known fact that about 80% of concepts in the retail industry fail, and only 10 to 20% actually survive. So it's the job of potential companies like us to make sure that number improves. So that's where it's our responsibility to highlight hidden costs, highlight risks, make sure that proper due diligence is done. So as a part of our company, for example, every time we're shortlisting locations, we take the responsibility of doing the area analysis, doing the due diligence, giving proper projections to the potential franchisee so that they can expect the numbers that we are projecting to match the real figures. So I think that's one bit which is very important. I'd like to believe, just to move on to the second bit, which is post-onboarding the financials bit. I'd like to believe the relationship between a franchisee and franchisor is like a tree, and since you mentioned sustainability, I think it would be a very apt analogy. The deeper the roots of the tree are, the stronger it is, and the more it can sustain life. And that's how it should be. The brands who are onboarding these potential entrepreneurs, first time or second time entrepreneurs, they should have a lot of depth. Depth could be in terms of experience, in terms of supply chain, in terms of their own numbers for that matter. So for example, Chai Garam is growing year on year. We're an EBITDA positive company. We're completely integrated, front and back end, with our own manufacturing facility. So not unlike a very paper brand, we're an actual brand who's invested in supply chain, invested in factories, invested that much in our own processes so that we have the capability to pass that on to potential franchisees. So that's very, very important. And in that bit, we also try to, and we should focus on things like unit economics. So only a company which is financially prudent itself can pass on that knowledge of financial prudence to potential partners of unit economics, of making sure that you break even as early as possible, that your ROIs remain high and you're able to recover your initial investment fast. So focus on unit economics, focus on making sure that the partner's outlet becomes EBITDA positive as soon as possible. These are extremely important things. Small things that we have done, like in a factory, it's a completely modular factory. If for whatever reason a particular outlet doesn't work, we have the capability to move the entire outlet 100% to a new location, thereby bringing down the risk that much. So I think there are a lot of ways where ethics and sustainability can be brought about within the organization, and only if you bring it on within the organization can you pass it on to the potential partners and entrepreneurs. The third bit that I mentioned was the food and the overall brand ethos. So for example, things like your ingredients, making sure that you're not adding unhealthy additives, making sure your marketing and branding, especially to children, is absolutely accurate. And those are some of the things that is part of brand ethos and brand's integral part of what the brand is about. So even if you look at our menu, we have almost 400 items that we serve, and there's no synthetic additives that we are adding. So I think those are important aspects, and sustainability ethics is not something which is just about using paper which is recycled and using straws which is recycled. From the onboarding stage to the final stage to your brand ethos, it's something that has to be in the life, like a tree, and like its root, the entire life cycle of a brand. So that's how I feel.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Paul, I would like to ask you the same question about the